Alrighty, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Doc here from North America. Another fun-filled day. Today is Tuesday. The week is moving along. Uh, what are we going to say here? Oh, I know what it was. The dollar weakening again. Okay, we're going to see if this time it tips over. I doubt it. We're seeing some good strength right now. Oh, let's go over to J4X. You can see on J4X, the Swiss pairs against the dollar was moving down, kind of popped up a little bit. Right now, I did see, let me show you what's going on with the dollar ETF. You can see it's moving down, so there's pressure on the dollar at the moment. But, the pressure is always short-lived. It doesn't seem to carry forward, I mean, it's amazing. Uh, and there it is right there. And you can see it's working this morning. Oh, yes. Let me just do this. Let's highlight it a little bit better like that. You can see it right here. See the pressure on it this morning, making new lows on the ETF. We haven't seen something like that in a while. Let's scrunch it up, and you can see it's going all the way back to the late February lows. Interesting. We'll see how they hold up in there. How things like the trade in rhythms and what's the best way to describe it? They like to trade in go down to a channel or go down to a support area, and then they hold up and they start to lift a little bit, and so forth and so on. Got some emails this morning about the dollar. People were like, "Oh, did you see the dollar?" And my response to the dollar right now is it just reminds me of the paranoia and this what we were scared of back many years ago. We were decades ago. We were always concerned about losing credibility. That was something we were always worried about. Now the world is in such debt. The central banks are the buyer of last resort. There is no credibility to really worry about too much at this point. At least in my mind, there isn't. Uh, you know, that's to me the way to look at it is that the dollar itself is just going to wash around. Show some weakness. Obviously, we're seeing inflation here now. You would think the thing would have been like much further lower just because of the inflation factor alone there, but we're not really seeing that, which is okay. Which is interesting. What else can we say about that? I guess that's about it with the dollar. It was cute this morning to see it do these moves here, and with it, we see on the pairs trades, we see. Let's just go over to the euro. You can see the euro is lifting up really nice. Let's go right to there. You can see that there's strength in the euro, and we'll take a look at it. Look at that, nice, and the white line is pierced up. That MACD that Daniel likes to watch that comes into the webinars here so often. We've been paying attention to that a little bit more. I don't, but other people do, and because I got my math, so I don't go after it, or I've watched it. It's a lagging indicator as far as I'm concerned. And then we can take a look at it here. Let's see, where is it at? Right there. I want to give me my window. Let's do this. Let's smooth it down just a little bit like that. There we go. That's better. Now we can go take a look at the euro. And you can see how the euro really trading at the highs there, which is, a very bullish thing there. That's nice, to see it up there like that. And it's piercing those dotted lines we've been staring at for a while now. And that's really important to see that, see some strength in there like that. We know that Europe is in incredible debt, not growing, so forth. So it's everything we talk about here about how the fundamentals have disappeared. Perfect example. Europe is not growing. We all know that. The amount of equity parked in zero return or minus return is amazing, in the trillions. And but here they do. They buy the currency because, again, we've always hoped we'd have a currency that we could utilize separate from the dollar. That was what American traders were really hooked on, that type of thing. That's why we were always happy to utilize the Deutschmark, but we had concerns about the Deutschmark because of the country being broken in half, East and West Germany, that type of thing. Now you have Europe connected together. We were hoping that that would be the United States of Europe, and relieve the pressure on the dollar in the sense of dependability. We found in the fundamental days, or the days when we actually looked at economic data of individual countries or individual stocks, we were hoping for literally a partner. Somebody, when things were better in Europe and less inflation, you could run there and get a nice return. When it wasn't, you could run to the States to get nice returns. And because those numbers skewed so hard against the dollar, when we saw it just not able to, in other words, it was just the dollar. The dollar was the king. It was like, come on, this is disturbing us. We can't follow fundamentals. That's what it really came down to. We could not follow fundamentals. Now, they've thrown the fundamentals out the door. They've been literally, they're gone. There is no real fundamentals now. It's just whatever the central banks believe the policy should be. Yesterday there was a great debate. A perfect example of what I'm talking about was there was a great debate after the market closed on what was it? Larry Kudlow. He worked for he was part of the Trump administration, and he's been a Wall Streeter for decades upon decades, and he had all the top names understanding markets. And what came out of all that was, which was a lot of good stuff, but capitalism's good. Obviously, socialism doesn't work. It never has worked. You can't show us a place where it does work, and when you show us one, we're the ones paying the bills for them to begin with, like a Scandinavian situation, that type of thing. Or in other words, they're paying health care, but they're not paying for their defense, that type of thing, and we're paying billions to take care of that. So in other words, if they were independent, they were building their own military and didn't take a dime from the U.S. Well, then yes, socialism works. But even the Chinese needed us to buy $400 or $500 billion a year from them to make their socialism work. Now that we've pulled back from Trump, you can see it's just not anywhere near as functional. My son has an import company, a distribution company of some form. That's one of his hobbies, actually. He has a company that does that, and he makes good money from it. But in the end result, he was telling me over the weekend that Chinese prices are rising. In other words, he sees it very closely because they get containers of Chinese stuff and to sell, and he distributes it out to the distributors to sell it. And he says he's seeing the Chinese prices rise, because they don't have the volume anymore because Trump has slowed that down. Now, Mr. Biden is trying, but he's not exactly succeeding in handing the keys to the castle again back to the Chinese. It doesn't seem to be happening that way. So, what I see basically is that the dollar will drift south, against the pairs for a short period of time, and then it will find a way to get a leg back up again. And that's usually the way it does roll. What else can we say about that? Let's go take a look at the cable, see what the cable looks like. Alrighty, where we go to there. Cable Roo. Let's take a look for it at J4X to compare it to. Right there. There's cable. Cable's doing a fine job to play with the 42s. You know how Doc gets, how I get. The moment I see the thing go into a daily or even a weekly buy, I start to think 42, 42, 44. It's going to go up there. It could be 39 or 37 at the time. I think it's going back up to there, and it usually does. And let's find it on here, right there. And same thing, you can see it's trading at its highs. And it's probably a few months back when we go and look at it. Let's take a look. Yeah, see, it looks like it's taken out that high there in late February. So it's even going higher. That's showing even more strength, and we constantly believe it should. You can see we're making a couple year highs here now. We're very, I always like to do the old-fashioned location, location, location. In other words, Britain is on the edge of Europe. They're a industrialized nation, very successful. They're part of the Commonwealth, which is the old colonial countries put together that are now independent, and they all trade, and there's almost 2 billion people in that, which makes them greater than the Chinese economy. Also, you're looking at a much more industrialized, even if they are socialist, some of their countries like a Nigeria or South Africa or Kenya, even if they have those strong socialist tendencies, they are forced consistently. Canada's in there. What else is in there? New Zealand is in there. Australia is in there. Belize, Jamaica. They're solid little countries. So they're tinged by their socialism, but at least they have much more capitalism going on compared to China. So I don't understand why they are so excited about China all the time. But that is what it is. So you look at that, and that they're located on the doorstep of Europe at the same time. So how can Brexit be a bad thing? That's what I'm trying to get across. I mean, now they've increased, instead of 400 million people, they've like 2.4 million people. 2.4 billion people now. And so how can that be a bad business situation? And that's why I've been very bullish on the Brexit for a long time, and probably the only thing holding cable down is probably the COVID crazy that goes on, and that's pretty much where it is. And that is what we have to say about that. Okay, and so now let's drift over again. The true answer here is that the dollar is weaker, and we'll see how long that goes on for. Our math is telling you, because when you go to the fact check spreadsheet right there, you can see cable's been 4 weeks in a buy. It's 1 day in a buy there. Euro 6 weeks in a buy, 1 day in a buy. It's telling us that it is, it's going up. Right there, the ETF of the dollar index, 5 weeks in a sell and 1 day in a sell. So our math keeps us pretty honest. So, what else can we say about that? I guess that's about it. Let's see, do we have anything else to say about those three? I guess not. So what we'll do now is we'll drift over to the Turkish Lira. And let's do that here first. We look at the Turkish Lira in two forms. We look at it at the dollar Turkish Lira, and we look at it also in the Euro Turkish Lira. Real insightful these two charts are of the product. There we go, a little strength there this morning. We did go into a daily sell yesterday, and we'll see what they do there. You can see the downward pressure there. You can see the white line down there. This is the dollar against the Turkish Lira. Let's find it on my Chicago quad. There it is there. You can see that pressure is still on it. We did climb into the weekly buy when it comes to the dollar side. We're still thinking that it's going to take out those cute little yellow dots. And then we drift over to, let me just send this. I just got texted something. There we are. All right. Let's see. There is that. Now, let's take a look at it on here. We did that. Now let's go over to this. Let's go check out the euro against the Turkish lira, which is interestingly a very good, insightful chart showing us the weakness and so forth. You see there, it went into the sell there yesterday. Now that's interesting is how it's bouncing up today. Let's give that a refresh. Whereas in the dollar, it's still sliding, and I guess that's because it's a weak dollar. You can see it went into the weekly buy 2 weeks ago. We're on the third week now when it comes to the euro against the Turkish lira. So it seems to be warning us that this sell that's going on in the, and let's take a look at it here too. Let's see, euro, Turkish lira. Right there. Here we are. And so there is that. You can see it's got that little weakness going on here, but you can see in reality that the hinky ashy is kind of like a what's the best way to describe it? It's a lagging indicator. but it does do a really good job of matching up to my dots. But it just happens to be like 4 to 6 hours behind all the time, which is okay. I mean, when you don't see docs work, it's better to see Forex or anything else you're using. You can see it here too with our combination of the histogram versus the white line. In this case here, we use the dot dashed against the white line. You can see that pressure that's been on it here for that one day. And we'll see, and like, see, can we see what's going on? What's that? That looks so compressed. How do we see that a little better? If I go like this with it, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that, but oh, I guess it's just flatlining. I guess that's what it's trying to tell us, is it's just flatlining it. And I guess when this is plus, it's a strength. Like I said, I find this to be a lagging indicator, so I don't really follow it that much, but there are people on the webinar here that do. And so, you know, that's where we stand with watching that. Now, we drift over to, let's see what we drift over to. We drift over to the Canadian. That's what we do. I don't see any questions anywhere. So it's a quiet day. Canadian. Oh, and Elise, if you're out there, I've responded to your email. You'll be getting that right after we put up our I wrote it yesterday. Just want to clean it up a little bit, and I'll be responding to you, Elise. No problem at all. Let's see. We want to go over to the Canadian, so let's check out the Canadian dollar. Canadian. Right there. Ooh, look at that thing drift down. And we'll put it up over here too while it's filling in. If I can find the window there. There it is. And right there. Yeah. That's interesting. Okay, so it wasn't drifting down up at all. And you can see here, you know, lots of red matching with our dots, that type of thing. You can see the white line has pierced. Over on Chicago Quant, it went into the sell there. Was it yesterday or the day before? Let's see what that is. That is, no, it stayed in a plus on that day. Just missed it by the hair of the chinny chin. And so yesterday was a close and a sell. Let's put that line in there too. Right there. In fact check probably shows it that way too. CAD, yeah, there it is. So CAD is 4 weeks in a sell and 1 day in a sell. And we'll change that color to red. Red wine. There we are. And so now we start to think about the energy sector when we see this. And we've started picking up another pairs trade that seems to have some really good insight into the energy sector. So you can see when this is going down, we always assume that there's strength coming into the oil market. And then we go and we look at we're looking now at, we usually look at the loonie, which is the NASCAD. So we go to the loonie, we look at that pairs trade to confirm the continuity or the strength of the, or longevity, however you want to look at it, of the strength in there. And you can see this has been moving up right here. And we're in a daily buy for, looks like we went into the daily buy. Oh, it's one of those, I love that. It goes into a daily buy when it was down for the day. I love that. That's one of my my favorites. It's usually a really good sign. And sure enough, unfortunately, we're in a weekly sell, so it's a real tough trade to take unless you're using binaries or options. And then what we do is we drift over to, that's insinuating strength in the oil sector. And then we go over to the EuroCAD, which is a new thing for us to watch. One of the people in here in the webinar jumped out and said, hey, check out this EuroCAD. It's got some insight to, and you can see the strength in that there also at the same time. You see that? It's higher today now, made some lows, but it's higher today than it was then, and it's been in a daily buy from, I guess, right here. So let's widen that so you can see that. And can we go like that? Yeah, that does it too. We really want to do it there, though. I think that's where we want to do it. Let's widen it out there, like that. So it went into the buy right there, and you can see it jumped around, went down. Now it's back up above it, and it's still in the daily buy. Now we're in a weekly sell though in this product. The weakness is coming in, and I think it's what's really true to this is when it shows strength on the upside, like the reverse of what the CAD does when it's going down against the dollar. Now we drift over to, And there's the Russell. But let's go check out the oil contract itself. Light sweet crude June right there, and there's that strength. And it's the same situation as right here. You can see that pressure down, which is telling us there's strength in oil for the last few days. And then we let's take a look at it on the J4X. And that would be was it Euro CAD? Right. Okay, I guess I got to put it. Oh no. So I got to put it in. I guess I have to put it in. Euro CAD. Let's see how they do that. Slash CAD. I guess we've never looked at it through. There it is, right there. We've never looked at it through J4X. And it's loading up there. There it is. You can see this is, it's a little sideways up. You can see it's making higher highs. It has done, like it did make a lower low here, but it did here, and it has there. So that's curious. And you can see this MACD thing showing, I guess, weakness. So it's kind of, I guess, giving us some good info, I guess. Like I said, I don't follow the MACD to be able to give you an opinion about it. It's a lagging indicator as far as I'm concerned, so I don't follow it. And this, where the Market Technicians Association across the planet try to tell us that this is a lagging indicator right there, the stochastics. But when you use it the way Doc uses it, when it's related to one versus the other, competing against each other, or I used to call it algo wars, where they battle with each other, and when it goes into a sell, you can see it's definitely the better short than waiting for it here. This thing's still rising. This thing's telling you to be short, and you can see this thing is going down, and the idea is when you want to be short, you want it to go down, not to go up. In this case here, this thing is rising all the way to there, where this thing is already confirmed right after that green that there is trouble on being long. So Doc has one opinion, the rest of the world of technicians have another. This is a lagging indicator. I guess if nothing else, I leave it up there so I can beat up on it for the fun of it. You know, when you have such good tools, I can afford to do that. Because proof is in the pudding. As I always try to tell traders, you know, you can tell me you love me, but you got to show me you love me. And this is it. The two stochastics battling with each other shows the love. And this MACD is, I'm not sure why people gravitate to it so much, because I just don't find the insight in it whatsoever. You know, I mean, look at that lag. What's that, a week and a half? You know, and now it joins in. And this thing here is starting to turn up and telling us that watch out. And this thing is still gliding down. It's got the line down. Now, the only good thing out of it this time is you can see the MACD is trying to turn up in here. I don't know if they watch that. Did they wait for this to go up to that? I've heard Daniel say that. You know, oh yeah, when the lines start to move, I know something's going on. Well, what about these histogram here? I'm so used to a histogram that's so insightful. You know, that tells us, and even in that poor action where it goes into the buy here, and the histogram is rising, it is still in a buy, and it's higher. Now you had to go through some pain. If you're trading binaries or options, that pain doesn't mean much. If you're trading the hard delta, it means a heck of a lot. So that's something to be thought about always. All right. What a quiet day. No one's yakking. Okay. That's all right. I'm just going to keep on going through the rhythm until someone says I need to look at something, or can we see oil again, or can we look at the cable again, or any of it. You can come back and ask for a second repeat. You never know what we're all going to learn, because trust me, I learn something all the time from it. Now nat gas is taking off. Where was it? It was taking off. Oh, that's right. It went into the sell there yesterday after that gap up. You know, we talked about the gap traders, where this is a gap from here to here, and it's the same contract. So, you know, that's gap trading. Sometimes they're very insightful, and they look to see it, the buyers disappear on the gap unless they take out the high here. And then what they do is they start believing that it's going to come down and take out the highs here. And it's always, gap trading is a fascinating thing. Throughout the decades, I've seen people look at it. I've seen horrible analysis of it. I've seen great analysis of it. You know, it's just all over the place. But one thing is for sure, it shows you that it's there. It's happened. You know it's happened, and you watch it to see if it's going to take out these lows here like this finally does when it does get going. Now I wait for my work, and you can see the weekly joins in here and here, and whew, take off. I'd rather do that. I'd rather have no trade on than a bad trade. And I wait for the math to tell us when to be long and when to be short. And then I guess we can go take a look at the, we're seeing gas prices starting to drop, or the gas oil. Now here, this is lifting up, but at the stations it's starting to, you know, back off in here. So you can see we had 2 volatility days. Let's give that a refresh, and it's coming. This is coming to delivery, because we are what, in the teens. This thing is, they are literally exchanging certificates at this point. So this is the June contract, and we're in the middle of May. So logic says is let's put in the July contract now. So let's do that as we speak, because it's well worth the, let's see, RB, and look up, and let's look at the July contract, and that would be N like in Nancy, or new, right there, and then close, and then now what we'll do is we will put that in, see how they're doing, right there. And we just want to do the other one too. For the weekly. There we are. See how it shifts. Oh, looks pretty good. Oh, I need to fix that. See what I do. Just double check. Now it's doing it. Okay, so it's all in there. You can see the weekly strength has gone on for so long, all the way back to early December. We've been in a weekly buy. This thing is going on and on and on and on. And you can see we went to the daily buy here, then it did that move up, then a gap down, and it's come and it's taking out the went after the low yesterday there, and it's now made all you know, highs there. You know, not all-time highs, but you know, just making highs and keeps on climbing. Luckily, we're seeing lower prices here in the States, which is always nice. What else can we say about that? Let's see. Ooh, there's a nice picture. Just got a nice scent. Ooh. I just want to respond to that. There we are. So there it is. You can see that strength. Interesting, you know, the energy sector is finding a way to go higher. you would expect, I guess globally, the old fundamentalists would look at it and say, hey, you know, the world economy is starting to lift. We're starting to see strength. The world is growing. You know, that type of thing. Well, there's been so much money plowed into this world economy from the U.S. And now the what is it, the you know, our Secretary of Treasury wants to go total global socialism. She wants everybody to decide what our interest rate, what our taxes should be. I think that's kind of weird and unique in its own right. We have, you know, when Doc says, oh, all this socialism's going on, and we have it going on in our White House again, like we had under Mr. Obama. You know, you know, people go, oh, he's just, you know, he's exaggerating. No. Our Secretary of Treasury wants to have global consensus on what taxes should be on capital gains and so forth. A one world order, I guess they refer to that. I myself just am, you know, so perplexed. And when we don't have a media, then obviously we don't get a chance to really discuss it. You know, I mean, you know, you would, if it was a Republican making some type of suggestion of any nature, it's on the front page of the newspaper day in and day out until they've basically tortured everybody in the world to just turned off. But when it's a Democrat, they hide it. So when she goes out and she goes around telling the whole world that we want everybody to have the same interest rates and the same taxes, there's not a peep out of our whole media. Very, you know, only 10% of our media is even catching that. that is the classic. You know, it is truly the classic. Just con- the left controls the media, and they make the narrative, and it's just the way it is. All right, now where do we go from here? We go over to, we've done the energy sector, so now what we're going to do is we'll jump back to the ruble and see how the ruble's doing here this morning. And that's dollar ruble, like so, right there. And let's put it up on Chicago Quant at the same time as it's doing its calculations. Figure out. There it is, and I think it's that is line. Where is that on the fact check spreadsheet? That is line right there, 18. You know, 3 weeks in a sell, 3 days in a sell, and let's put it up on. You can see here on J4X, it's moving down. You can see the white line pierced, and let's check it out. What it is what it is over on the 4X right there. Let's check that out right there. You can see it's a little pressure there. Again, this is becoming a barometer of sanity when it comes to the world, as far as I'm concerned. The lower ruble goes, in other words, the more valuable it becomes. I think there's more capitalist, peaceful, sane decision making on a global level, and the less always tells me that the crazies are more in charge than we want them to be. I think that's all. I think it's honestly that's how it literally works. Let's see what else is there. Let's see. Someone just I just got a text on some currencies from one of the old exchange guys. It says overall, it involves a handful of factors, but he's talking about the Euro outlook according to Mark McCormick at TD Securities. That's Toronto Dominion. And they're pretty good guys up there. But the key is the German election results in them going green, stronger, euro weaker, dollar. The Bloomberg hosts don't consider this a mainstream position. Yeah, of course not. They're socialists, and so they just got a whole different opinion. My answer to him is that. Of course, they're socialists. At Bloomberg. He watches Bloomberg, so I don't. I'll have the tape on sometimes, but with no sound, so I don't have to hear any of their ridiculousness. Yeah, there we are. So from there, we jump over to the yen, see what the yen is up to, and we'll look at it on the fact check. Right there, you can see, now it's ruble right underneath it. 5 weeks in a sell, 1 day in a sell. Take a look at the J4X first. Right there. We'll go here and put it up on this at the same time. Right there. You see that pressure on it. We went into a sell yesterday. And you can see here it's doing the same thing, showing the weakness. This thing, I have no idea what it's trying to tell us. I guess you would think that's a bottom or something. I don't know what that is. I mean, in my head, I would think that that's considered a bottom. So, what else is there? Let's see. Okay, so that's cool. Now what we do is we like to drift over to. Let's drift over to the Mexican peso, which has become a very interesting product. I see a lot of responsibility and organization going on at the Mexican peso. It's interesting. It's locked itself in a nice tight range, which is very good for business and economy. If they can count on their currency more, it's always nice not to see it drift all over the place like the way the Turkish Lira has been and so forth over the years. You can see here it's in a sell for a day. We don't have it on the fact check spreadsheet. That may change. We may pull somebody out and throw that in. It might be well worth having the Mexican peso against the dollar on there. And as you can see right here, moving down in price. And here we've been in a weekly sell since, I guess it's like right in here. And then it jumped into a buy to warn us that there was going to be a pop. It popped. And we're still in the weekly sell though, so we thought for sure the daily sell would give us a good sell, and it did. That was a winner chicken dinner. And now we're in there again. We're back into the sell again. Back in the sell again. And it gave us a buy there. There? No, 1 day over. At that rush up. And now we are back. Let's widen that out. Like so. And now we're back in the sell again. So you can see we went into the sell yesterday. And right off, instant gratification. Winner, winner, chicken dinner again. So there it is there. 47, welcome to the hood. What's up? Hey, Doc, we already had the euro dollar. What's that? You know that doesn't mean anything to me. You know that. We can look at it 5 times as far as I'm concerned. Every time we look at something, we learn something. And I mean like me too. And so let's go there. Let's check it out. What it is what it is. Essay. All right there. No, that's not right there. Euro against the dollar. I know it's up here somewhere. Oh, it's down at the bottom. That's right. Right there. And let's go check it out through Chicago Quant. No, it's doing good things. It's going through the dots. Where's it? Oh, yeah, right here. It's going through the dots. You can see that. White line has pierced back up again there on J4X. If you're one of these followers of this lagging indicator, right down here on the bottom, the MACD, you can see it's holding on whatever lines it's holding on to, and the little histogram is plus, so I guess that's a positive. And you can see it's trying to lift up, and we finally, after all these years, have busted the dotted line. Every time we've gone up to that dotted line, we get knocked back down again. Or it's not years, okay, it's months. Okay, it was the British pound that had the years. And so you can see all the way back to February, it would hit it, fail, hit it, fail, hit it, fail. Just would keep on doing that every day, since February. And now, finally, it has hit it, and it failed. And it just about hit it there. But now, look at that, the body of the candle's through it. So, we're in a weekly buy since, where is it at? Back here. So we're in a weekly buy since back here. And now the daily, which I think it's 2 days in a buy, isn't it? Where's that at? That's line, or is it 1 day or 2 days? Line 14. 1 day in a buy. So it closed in the buy yesterday. And instantly, like we like to say around here, this cowboy always says it, winner, winner, chicken dinner. That's right. And I don't mean like that chicken, what I used to call it, chicken on the plane, on the plains. In other words, not like an airplane, but the plains of the desert, which usually meant buzzards. I mean, the best you can do eating a buzzard is like the legs, maybe the breast. No, the breast. That's about it. Ugh, oh man, they're tough to eat. But if you're starving, obviously, you're gonna eat it. So I mean, if you're starving. That's I'm talking about the domesticated chicken, where it's nice white meat and fresh, and the dark meat is sweet. Oh. So anyway, yes indeed, there it is. There's the euro showing its life and playing with the dotted line and looking very firm above it. Now, brown cow, let's see. And so then from there, that is what it is, Oh, I need to make a copy of that. Go like that. That's what it is. And do a response like that. There we are. So, yes, that it is. Okay, there we are. So that is what it is, and that is the euro. Do you have any other questions on the euro? What is the set of the MACD? I don't know. Daniel set that up. We did what Daniel told us to do. So here, let's check it out. We go like that. There it is right there, right? 12, 50, and 7? Is that good or bad or what? Like I said, I don't follow the MACD, so I'm not really sure. All right. I'm waiting for a response. Was just wondering. Okay, I don't have an opinion on MACD. I mean, I literally don't. Yeah, I mean, in the sense of more than anything that, all I know is it's a lagging indicator. I don't, utilize it. I haven't utilized that in 3 decades or 4 decades or something like that. I really haven't. I've seen it. I've seen people talk about it. I think at one time I used to do it on the train before laptops. I used to do the hand calculations of that and stochastics every day on the ride. So I used to do the math instead. So. And so that's what it is. Let me think, what else is there? I guess that's about it. I think that's what it is. You want to look at anything else that we have maybe missed? I don't see anything coming across. So I'm sure 47 when you do, say it, and we will, we'll go after it. Okay, now, where else do we go from here? Let's drift over to, let's see, where was I at? Let me look up on the, we were doing US that, okay. Were we in the, we didn't do the metals. That's what it is. Let's do the metals. How do we go from the metals? Oh, I know what it is. We look at the South African rand. Let's check out the dollar South African rand look. When that is going down against the dollar, in other words, it's strengthening. Usually that's some type of sign of strength in the, where's that? Rand. There it is, ZAR. There's rand. There's the rand right there. Let's check it out over here on Chicago Quant. It's down towards the bottom. Dollar rand right there. Okay. Oh, no problem. 47. I always find looking at a product more than a couple times, a second time or a third time, there's always something that you miss and you spot. It's why everybody's supposed to do their homework over and over and over again. Just keep on doing it, because that's the important factor, is to just constantly do it. You may finally oh, I didn't see that. After 3 times of looking at it, the 4th time you see what it is. You see something else that gives more insight. You never know. You just never know. So it's always well worth going back and looking at something. If someone says, "Hey, I'd like to look at that again," or "I missed it. Can you look at it again?" It's like, as far as I'm concerned, hell yeah, definitely. So, and there it is. There, the rand is in our work. You can see it right there. It's trying to head down. That's cool. We're in a daily sell, so that should mean that the metals complexes should be moving up, and we do know it's been moving up. I don't know what it's doing the last hour or so, but it's definitely been moving up. That's for sure. We're in daily buys in silver and gold and so forth. I think gold is, where is it on the fact check spreadsheet? Gold is 5 weeks in a buy, 8 days in a buy, whereas silver is kind of a little wishy-washy. You know how silver can be, and we're like 6 weeks in a buy and 2 days in a buy, and then was it copper right there? You can see 4 weeks in a buy and just went back into the daily buy again. So let's go take a look at the metals complex. We'll get a little flavor of what's going on there. Right there. There we go. And so to start off with, there's gold. You see gold, it's made a new high. Did it touch 70? Yeah, it went through that, went to 75, whereas yesterday the high was like 68, 69, 69.3. And so hit the vine and bounced back down, and now today it's taken out that, took out the vine and went to 75. We had a number for that on the trading floors. We used to refer to it as divine. And then on silver, we say, oh wow, zip-de-doo-dah, almost touching 29, 28.90, and it removed that dot out of there yesterday, which was nice, and that went into it. And you can see, what else can I say about this? The weekly looks firm. You can see here, the green line has not pierced the time manifold. In this case here, the green line blew through the time manifold right there, and just giving us a great warning. Look at that rocket shot, that there's some strength. And again, winner, winner, chicken dinner. I know. Well, Doc is just, traders, good traders are consistent. So you're going to get some of the consistencies and the unique craziness out of our view of the marketplace. But just always know that we do try to be consistent. Now that's interesting. It went to 90, and now where's it trading at 46? Wow, what's that? A 43-cent drop. I'm telling you, unfortunately for silver, it just cannot get a break when it comes to some blind buying. Consistency, continuity. Whereas at least gold a lot of times does have that continuity. You can see here it went into the sell and it just bounced around and then finally ripped back up again, and that one was all right. That one was all right. It's okay, it's a winner, but it's not like the gold. The gold, boy, when it does it, it does it. They reach for it, baby. Look at that. It goes into the buy there, and it goes on a close of was that 1767.7, right? You see the C, and then it goes next day. It's beyond. It's like a chicken dinner for a family of 10. It opens at 89 from a close of 76, 77ish, and bangs against 18. It goes to 1798. A 20 some odd dollar move. It's like, now that's what I call winner, winner, chicken dinner. And then another one right there. Look at that. It goes from 90. I'm sorry. It goes from 815. Where's it close at? It goes into the buy at 815. Is it? Yeah, 815. And the next day, they give you a little gap. They take it up to the 40s. It's like 30. What was that? $25. It's just interesting how the two act. And it's been in a buy since then. It hasn't fallen out of it, even with the correction that it tried to do. And again, that's the difference between binary trading and option trading versus hard delta trading. So that is what it is. All right, now look at copper. Copper is another one of those interesting ones. We talked about it yesterday, how the world needs copper for all this, electric world. And I know that Mr. Biden is going to a car plant today to push on electric cars. He likes those electric cars. Me likey electric cars. I think that they're fun. They're fast. But I don't see them any more than a toy as far as I'm concerned. Our grid can't handle it. We don't have the energy. And really, an electric car is a coal-fired. It's coal-powered by using coal factory, generators, or oil generators. And we're very low on nuclear generators. So, and almost zero when it comes to actual production from, say, it would be different if they put instead. You know what they should do with electric cars? They should put solar collector devices all across the whole. In other words, forget about the aesthetic beauty of it. I mean, that's why you're doing it for the energy, right? So why do you care? Why, make the whole the frame, not the frame, but the chassis, the roof and the hood and the trunk, make it all a solar collector and let it power it. Then I would probably take it more seriously. It would be charging the battery as you're using it. So in other words, maybe you get a 70% charge, and then you'd only have to plug it into coal and oil for like 25 or 30%, or maybe you'd be lucky and get wind. It's hard to say, but I don't understand the love for oil and coal to power an electric car that's supposedly subtracting out oil and coal. If they don't have oil and coal, they're not going to have an electric car. So it's very confusing to me. That's why I think of it as like a toy. I don't think it is a serious mode of transportation. but boy, is it a fun toy to play with. And the world right now has 3% of automobiles with electric. So I mean, they can get away with that. You put 30% up there, and you're going to be sitting and waiting for a day before you can drive your car. It's just not the same thing. We don't have a grid that can handle. I think our grid right now could only handle like 15%. If 15% of the automobiles in the world were electric, I think that's where it would stop. We don't even have a grid across the planet that can handle electric cars. That's why I say, why make it aesthetically beautiful? Put solar collectors on it and let it charge itself up. Well, it's, and then it would be way more functional. Then our grid you could probably have maybe 60 or 70% of the world's cars as electric. They wouldn't be pretty. I mean, they would be kind of bubbly looking and goofy, but who cares? You don't do it for aesthetics. You're doing it for energy. So there's copper. It went into the sell here. It stayed in the weekly buy, and here it goes, and it challenged today the the 480 area. It went to 78.20, and there it had touched the 80 area. So we'll see if this is the beginning of a leg up and away. Went into the buy yesterday, and it's again, traders, winner, chicken dinner. So what else we've got to say about the armature manufacturer of the world? That's pretty much what it comes down to. You need the copper to create the armature for windmills and for automobiles, electric automobiles and motors and the whole bit. Now, let's see, what's that? So that's gold, that's silver, and that's copper. There's a good sprinkling of the metals complex. And then where do we go from here? Oh, I know we do. We go to cryptos, because we look at what do we do? We look at let's see, what do we can do here? Let's do this. We can close that, and we go to the cryptos, and let's look at Bitcoin. And then we'll look at Coinbase, the exchange. Let's see, is that the right one? No, that's not the right one. There it is right there. And we go with Bitcoin right there, which is playing with a daily buy today, if you noticed. Oh, now it's failed. When I first sent that out this morning, it was playing with a daily buy. But it's kind of rolled over there. It's fallen back down again. And then, remember, it was tax season, so they needed to sell some of this stuff for the last couple of weeks. Then what we do is we look at, and it's been in a sell since like right up in here, and we've been in a weekly sell since like right up in there, and so this is not surprising that we're seeing the weakness. But let's open up Coinbase. They floated the stock on that. Where is that? We floated the stock on that, or they floated it, and we talked about the syndicate bid yesterday. Let's see, where are we at here? And then. Ooh, cool. What is that? Oh, nice. And so, let's do that. Go like that. And then you can see here, this is Coinbase, the stock that was floated. Now, this is the intraday. And we're using a 693 tick. And yesterday, we were looking at it here, how it closed on Friday, putting the pressure on it. You see it went down. We went into the buy right there in the intraday. It had a nice little ride up. We went into a sell right there. And it had a cute little ride down, and then it stayed in the sell all the way to here, went into the buy there towards the end of the day, and you can see it rode it up, and then at the end of, I guess towards the end of the day there yesterday, it went into a sell. I don't know what that's all about. That looks like a bad thing. So it's, in other words, a bad tick, or what they call a fat finger. Let's see, did that reshape it? Let's see if it did that. No, so it's recalculating it now. So now what we'll do is we'll go look at the daily for a moment until that recalculates. Maybe it cleans it up. And so you can see here, it went into the weekly sell. This is a daily bar, and I guess we were flirting with, I don't know why the green line's in there, but and the end result is that you can see we are in a daily sell, and it's been going down for a couple days, and you can see this is it now today on the 18th. They're going down again, making new lows again. Let's go back over to the tick one. That's always fun. There it goes. It cleaned out those crazy bad ticks. And then so you can see here on the close of yesterday, it pushed it into the sell. It's bouncing around a little bit in there. You know, just pretty much just a little bit higher than where it went into the sell. It has been higher overall. It's not a little bit there. That's like $3. And we'll see how they play that out today. See if there's any, you know, pullback or anything like that. And that is Coinbase, and that's an exchange for the cryptos, for a lot of the cryptos. So it's a good place to look at the nature of the marketplace. And you can see here, on a short-term basis, you know, our math has been playing with that and watching it ride down, and it had that nice bounce up from the 50 area all the way up to the 80 area, no more than like 4 days back trading, back on the 13th. And then last Friday, it gave up the ghost, as they would say, and started working its way down and broke that. And you can see yesterday, it challenged that area there. So that is what we're seeing there, traders. And so that's the Coinbase. Now what we do is we drift over to, we'll close that. We drift over to the stock indices. Let's see how the stock indices are looking. Where's that at? Right there. And what we do is we see like the NASDAQ 100, you know, has made a nice little pop up. You know, it's in the buy today. But you can see the weekly is in a sell, so you can't trade it unless you're doing, again, what is that, traders? I can hear you scream it. Trading binaries or options, you can play with it. That's right, but not the hard delta. And then the S&P 500 has been in a daily buy, and it was in a weekly buy, and you can see it's just flirting underneath, so you got to be very careful about hard delta on this one too. Solely because the weekly is trying to go into a sell. And it's only Tuesday. It's been doing that all week long, pushing it, you know, yesterday and today. Not all week long. Yeah, well, all week long. Now, same thing with the Dow Jones Industrial Average. You can see on Friday they gave us the volatility signal, and it was not on Friday. That red dot did not exist, so we're leaving it there anyway. I don't care. I don't understand how that even can be, but it is. That's what the math is saying. But it didn't appear there until Monday, so we're leaving it as the daily buy. And you can see the strength has been in it, and it's trying to grow, and we're just barely touching the close of Friday there. And this thing is still in the buy by the hair of its chinny chin, the last I looked. So plot 1 is 540, plot 4 is 1120, and is it running a 5? Let's just see. The plot 6 is 109, so it's very bullish there. Now let's just double check what it is. Yeah, see, we're not even using the green there. Oh, so that's really odd. What is that? Should be white, I guess. Histogram is white. Oh, it shouldn't be green. We shouldn't have the line as green. We should do it as a different color. I forget what it is. Let's make it blue. I forget. We usually do a different one, and then I guess what is we should make this dashed. I don't know. Usually we do something different for a gas line 3.5. I'm trying to remember what it is. Let's just take a look at something else. Not there. That's not a 3.5. That's a 5. What do we do with the 3.5s? Go to 3.5. That's a 7. But we had a different color scheme for a 3.5. There's a 5 straight. We have the same thing. Oh, the histogram. Okay, so this is running the 6 is the 5 histogram. Okay, that's fine. And the line is green, and we're not looking at the. That's what it is. We don't have a color for it because of that. I guess what we should do is something like blue or something like that, just to give you a flavor, just to see dotted like that, just to give you a flavor of what's going on with the 3. So that's the 3 is the green and the blue dashed. I like how that breaks there. That's interesting. And then when you get the strength here, you have to depend on the daily. Because look at that. I mean, it's just been, we've been in the sell since here, and it didn't go into, I'm confused about that. Where's that on the fact check spreadsheet? No, it didn't get into the buy there. I guess it must have been a red dot. Oh no, well, that's what it is. It was underneath the line there. That's what it was. And so finally, when it did it there, it's finally starting to show the strength. So it's like you have to give up like, after all those wins, you have to give up like a leg and a breast of that chicken. You lose a little of your chicken dinner, but you've made like 6 chickens trading it that way. So, Oh, actually not. You just haven't been long, that's all. Because it's been in a weekly buy. Let's go back and look and see. There was the winner's chickens dinner. Right there from that point on. And that was a win there, but it was a small win. And then I guess what happened was, how could that be there? Where's the bar? So how is that the 24th? That's the 23rd. That's a Saturday. So I see. So the buy was officially there and went up and then went sideways and then came down. This has been a tough trade. Look at that. That's been a very tough trade. Usually we've had some really great victories in this product, but of late I guess it's been banging so hard against the all-time highs it doesn't have much clarity to it. Anyway, I got to get out of here. The markets have already opened. All right, Doc from North America, happy trails to you until we meet again, which will be Happy to Hump Day tomorrow. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. Ta-ta for now, traders.